I've already run my first 5K, but I'm not stopping there. I'm currently in week 9 of the Couch to 5K program, just 2 runs left. Most people would call that done. But I'm going to finish every single run, leaving no stones unturned. Because achieving a goal isn't about hitting it once, it's about finishing what you started. And that's where the real discipline comes in. If I asked you if you've already run a 5K and I asked you to run a 5K again, let's say 2-3 weeks from now, but you can't go for another run, would you be able to do it? I'll let you sit with that question for a couple of seconds. Would you be able to do it? And I thought about this question a little bit, and I think most people would actually think perhaps they would be able to because they've done it in the past. And there's only been 2-3 weeks in between your last 5K and then the one you're about to do. But what I'm going to tell you is slightly different to perhaps what you thought may be right. The honest truth, you can lose it very quickly when it comes to running. And stamina and fitness, this is something you have to maintain fairly consistently. So if you had to run another 5K 2-3 weeks later, after having run your first one, more often than not, you probably wouldn't be able to do it. There is always a slight chance that you'll be able to do it, but it will not be as easy and straightforward as your very first one. It'll probably be very challenging, and you'll probably struggle, slow down, and find it very tough to replicate what you did a couple of weeks ago. So this is a point to say that when it comes to running, you can lose it very, very quickly if you don't take the chance to maintain it and stay consistent with it, even after accomplishing your goal. Running and fitness is something you maintain for the rest of your life. This is not something you can do one and done and then you can run 5Ks forever. That's not how it works. This is something you have to maintain and keep building if you so desire to. And the lesson here really is to stick with your goals, or not. It's not with your goals. Stick with your habits. Whether it's to run a 5K, perhaps run a 10K in the future. If you don't go for any more runs, and if you decide to run again, maybe a few weeks from now, you'll find that is much more challenging and it's much more tough in order to run the same distance you could a few weeks ago, because your body isn't well adjusted and it's not well prepared and conditioned because you've not put it through that intensive activity in order to maintain that skill of running and that level of fitness. This is something you can't do one and done. This is something that must be maintained over time through consistent actions and consistent runs. So if I tie this back to my own personal experiences, that is why I am continuing the program up until I finish. I've only got 2 runs left, and I'm going to see it through all the way to the end, because I made a commitment when I first started this program in run number 1, when I said I would see the program all the way through to the end. So having already run my first 5K, I've already achieved my goal, and I've got 2 runs left to complete the program. Some people may think as to, why are you continuing this? Well, the whole point of having a mission is to see it through all the way through to the end. Just because you've achieved your goal doesn't mean the program is finished. It just means you've achieved your goal. I will gladly and happily say, once I've completed the program, that's when I'll take a short break from running and just let my body recover after I've been running consistently for 3.5 to 4 months. So this is more a message about finishing what you started. So on this run, being run 33, I've already run 5K, and the goal was to replicate that and try it again, but it didn't actually work out that way. See, I went on this run and set the intention of, yes, I want to run a 5K again because I've already done it. Let's do it again. It did not happen. It did not happen one bit. I think in the end, I managed to run about 4.3 kilometers, which is still an impressive feat in its own right. But having already run a 5K and wanting to replicate that, only running 4.3 was very, very painful because I had a little bit of an ego and I said, oh, you know what? I want to do that again. And I wasn't able to do it. And I'm not here to make excuses or anything, but I think this was more so to do with the fact that I've been running intensely for the past 3.5, 4 months now. And in order to replicate high performance levels of running, that is very tough. And I think my body just gave out on me. Because when I started this run, the first kilometer went all right. And then after that, I was completely checked out. I did not have any mental capacity or any energy to keep going. I did keep running, but it was super slow, super sluggish. And I was in a lot of pain at the very end of the run. And I think it was a sign to say that I'm potentially suffering from a bit of burnout because of the workload of runs I've been going on since late August this year. So I think that's still going to see the program through all the way to the end. But I think a break is on the horizon to allow my body to fully recover and just give my mind the chance to rest. Having been super disciplined and super consistent for all this time, to have the chance to reset and come back stronger, probably now in the new year, as I'm recording this, or this run particularly, will be mid-December, somewhere in there, just before Christmas. And this will go to show that I made a commitment when I started the program, and I'm going to see it through all the way through to the end. Regardless of how the runs go, I just want to make sure that I finish them, because I really want to hone in on that commitment promise I made to myself of seeing the program all the way through to the end. And that's what I intended on doing. And even though I wasn't able to run a 5K, I wasn't really put off or anything. I have put my body through a lot of intense activity. I'm not surprised that I'm just really struggling to maintain high levels of running, because running is tough. It's a tough sport. It's a tough activity to maintain and do consistently for a long amount of time. And there will come a point where you need to give your body the opportunity to rest. And people will do this. Well, this is more synonymous with the gym, but people will do what's called a deload, where you just don't run at all. Where in my case, when you go to the gym, you have a deload week, or maybe if it's even weeks, where you just don't do your said activity for, let's say, 1 to 2 weeks. Instead, you do something which is much more low intensity, like walking instead, and just completely not doing said thing, whether it's lifting weights in the gym or whether it's going for a run, and just completely ignoring it for like 1 to 2 weeks and allowing your body and give it the real chance to recover and replenish from the hard activities you've been doing for the past few months. And that's what I plan to do when the program is over. And I think my body needs a chance to recover. And once I've done the program, I'm going to give it its chance to recover. So when I come back to running in the near future, I'll be ready and raring to go again. So this run was super, super tough. I think I managed 4.3 kilometers, I mentioned previously. Super, super tough, super difficult. I had to use a lot of willpower, a lot of discipline. And I was able to see it through, but it was very painful. My legs were super heavy, and mentally I was checked out from the first kilometer all the way up until the end. So if I wanted to leave you with one thing, it would be this. Your goals will rarely ever go as planned. And the reality of working hard and working towards your goals is that's completely normal. That's going to happen. Even though you've achieved said goal, you may try and replicate it again and completely fail and not do it. That's completely normal. When it comes to running 5Ks, you may be feeling super great on one day, and then maybe a couple of days from now, you try to run that 5K again, and you're not able to do it. And that happens. Some days you'll feel great. You'll feel like you're in a flow state and everything's running so smoothly. And then there'll be other runs where you feel so adrift and disheveled and out of energy, and you're wondering where's all your fitness and cardio gone. And that will happen from time to time. And I didn't let that put me down or get me super concerned of, oh no, I can't run a 5K anymore. I've run one before, but I can't do it anymore. That isn't the case. Today's run was just a case of me potentially experiencing the early signs of burnout and just needing to take the chance to recover and let my body regain back its energy and start to take the chance to walk away from running just for a short while so I can fully rest and recuperate before I set out and go for runs again in the near future. And that's where I'll leave you today.